Hello everyone, welcome to Mr. K Talks Tech YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to see how to create a Azure Data Lake / storage account using the Azure portal. So right now I am in the home page. So if you type in a new browser tab portal.azure.com, you just land to this home page. So in the previous video, we just saw like what are the different storage services available in Azure. In this video, we're just going to see how we can create them. So let me go to the Azure resource group that we created in one of the previous videos, which is RG Mr. K Azure tutorials. So if I click on that, so this is the resource group where I'm going to create the storage account. So once you go to the resource group, there is an option called create, the top left. So I'm clicking on that. It takes you to the marketplace where I could search for the storage account. So if I search for storage account, and this is the storage account provided by Microsoft. So I'm clicking on that and I'm clicking on create. So it takes you to this place where you can give multiple information about creating the storage account. So the first one is we need to enter the subscription where we need to create this storage account. So we just have one subscription, which is Azure subscription one. So I'm going to click on that, and it is asking for the resource group next. So as you can see here, we have two resource group over here. I'm going to choose the first one, which is RG Mr. K Azure tutorials. So after selecting the subscription and resource group, it asks some of the informations like what is the storage account name. So the rules for storage account name is, as you can click on this I button to get the rules. It should be between 3 to 24 characters long and can contain only lowercase characters and numbers. So everything should be the lowercase. So I'm going to create a storage account name with Mr. K demo storage account 123. Cool. Now we have given the storage account name. The next one is the region. So I'm going to select Australia East, which is close to my location. So if I just search in the filter items, Australia East. Cool. And the next one is the performance, which is really important. We have two options. One is standard and the other one is premium. So we can go with the standard option. This works pretty much well every time for all the data solutions. So you can go to premium whenever you need a much more performance in terms of latencies. So I just go with the standard option over here. And the next option is the redundancy. So if I click on the eye icon here, so it is mainly used to replicate your data to multiple locations, which increases the high availability. So we have seen already in one of the previous videos where Azure provides data centers in multiple regions around the world. So this is more to actually replicate your data in more than one location. So there are four options in redundancy. So if you click on here, so there is LRS, GRS, EZRS, and GZRS. So I'll make a separate video about all these options in detail. So as part of this demo, let's choose LRS, which is locally redundant storage, which is most cost effective. So if I click on this option, so we have given all these basic information. And if I click on next, which takes us to advanced tab. So in advanced tab, the first option is about the security. So by default, there are a lot of options which is enabled. We could go with the default option. So what it has is the first option is about the secure transfer of REST API. We could check that because we need the secure transfer. So the next option is allow enabling public access on containers. So we have seen about what is containers in the previous videos. It's just like act as a folder structure in order to create a blob storage. For example, if you want to create a blob storage, you need to have a storage account plus containers, right? So this is just giving public access on containers on default. So if you disable this option, you need to have a private network connection to actually connect to the containers. So we are not going to create any private network connection. So I'd go with the default option, which is the public access right now. And the other one is enabling storage account key access. So this is generally you can use the key, the storage account key to access this storage account. For example, if any other users who wants to access the storage account, you can just give the key, the storage account key, and the user can use this key to access the storage account. So we could enable this option as well. This is a default one. And the other one is default to Azure Active Directory authorization in Azure portal. So this is basically authorization that happens in the Azure Active Directory using the managed identity operation. So I don't think we need this option right now. So it's the default option is not selected. So we can go with the default one. And we have minimum TLS version. We could go with the default one, and there is other options which is in preview, and we can just ignore this for now. So the most important part in this advanced tab is this option over here. So in the previous videos, we have seen that when you actually add a concept called hierarchical namespace on top of Azure Blob Storage, you get Azure Data Lake Gen2. So if you enable this option, then you are going to create Azure Data Lake Gen2. And if you're not using this option, you're just creating a blob storage. So the matter of creating a blob storage and Azure Data Lake using this storage account depends on this option. So I'm going to create Azure Data Lake Gen2. So I'm going to enable this option, which enables the hierarchical namespace. So the next option is blob storage. It has options like enabling the SFTP or enabling network file system and other options. So by default, you don't have this option checked in. So I'm going to just ignore this for now. But the most important part of this blob storage option is this access tier. So we have two options in access tier, which is the hot and the cool. By default, the hot is selected. So what is the difference between the hot and cool tier is, for example, if you're creating Azure Data Lake just for backup purpose. So what's the use of backup is like you store all the history data in one location, and you are not going to access that backup data frequently, right? So it's mainly used for storage purpose. So in that case, when you're creating a storage account only for backup purpose, then you could enable this cool option. But if you're just using this data lake just for the storage and doing the general purpose things like accessing the data frequently and stuff, then you can go to the hot option. So I'm going to select the hot option since I'll be using this storage account for multiple reads and writes, since I'm not going to create this storage account just for backup. So what's the difference between these two is like in hot tier, the storage cost is high and the access cost is pretty less. But in cool access tier, the storage cost is pretty low and the access cost is high. So that's one of the two difference between hot and cool in terms of cost. And we have another option called Azure Files. If you are going to use Azure Files option, and if you want to enable large file shares, then you can check this option. But I'm just going to create the Azure Data Lake and not Azure Files in general. So I'm just going to leave this option for now. So after filling these all details, I'm going to next, which is networking tab. This is mostly based on the networking, in what network you are going to access this Azure Data Lake Gen2. So by default, it is enable public access from all networks. But if you want to increase the security and stuff, you can create a private network, or you can enter series of IP addresses to give access to this storage account. But for now, I'm going to use this default option because I don't have any private network or any kind of requirements as part of this testing. So I'm just going to use what they enable public access from all networks, which means that if I have access to this storage account, I can access it from any network. For example, I'm connected to this Wi-Fi, it still works. If I connect with different Wi-Fi, it will still work. So I don't have any particular network to access this storage account. And the other option is the network routing. We can use the Microsoft network routing option here as a default one. So after giving these details, let's move to data protection. So if I click on this, so this is mostly based on protecting the data which is stored in the Azure Data Lake. One of the main benefits of this is like it has some option called soft delete. So by default, it has been enabled for all the soft delete options for blobs, containers, and file shares with the default value of 7. So what do you mean by soft delete is like, for example, if you delete any of the files in the data lake accidentally, you still have 7 days to actually recover the deleted data back. So I think you can give the value from 1 to 365. So you have 1 year as a maximum time where you can use this option to actually recover the deleted data. And the other one is the tracking option. So tracking cannot be used with the Azure Data Lake Gen2 hierarchy namespaces. As you can see here, versioning and hierarchical namespaces cannot be enabled simultaneously. So the other option is the access control. So this is also not enabled when you are going to use Azure Data Lake Gen2. So we can ignore this part. So we have given all this information in data protection. So let's go to the next step, which is encryption. So this is just the encryption technique that is used to protect the data. So as part of this demo, I'm going to use the default option over here, which has the encryption type and this customer managed key support. So after this option, we have tags. So if I click on tags, we have already seen what is tags about. So this is mainly used for identifying what kind of resource we are creating and stuff. So I'm going to create a tag called create by, and I'm going to use the value Mr. K as usual. So yeah, so we have created the tags. So next option is review. So it will review all the details that we have given for creating the storage account. So now we have an option to create, so we can create this option. Cool. So we have created the storage account. So there is an option called go to resource. So if you click on this, it will take you to the storage account. So this is a storage account that you have created. So right now we are in the overview page where you can see the different information that we use to create the storage account, the location, subscription, performance standard, replication, LRS, and account kind, which is general purpose v2, which is called the Azure Data Lake Gen2. So if you scroll down in the overview tab, you have an option called data lake storage. As you can see here, the hierarchical namespace is enabled, and we have the file service, queue service, table service, which is disabled for now. So you can create all these three services using the data storage option over here. You can click any of these three to create the individual storage. So as part of this demo, I'm going to create the Azure Data Lake Gen2 blob storage. So as discussed before, to create a blob, we need to create something called containers. So we have an option called containers over here. So if I click on the container, so to create a container, we can use this option over here. So if I click on this and if I give a name, so I'm giving a name called test. After giving the name, click create. So now we have created a container. So if I go inside test, so we are in the test container now. So you can create any kind of blob inside this container. So you can create a video file, you can create a text file, you can create an audio file, and you can pretty much create any kind of files inside this container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a CSV file as a blob. So there is an option called upload over here. So if I click on that upload, and there is an option to drag files over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a sample CSV file, just drag and drop over here. So the file has been selected. So if I click on upload, cool. So we have uploaded the file now. So this is the blob file that we have uploaded now. As you can see here, we have a blob type, which is a blob. So as discussed before, to create a blob file, we need to have a storage account, and inside the storage account, we need to have a container, and inside a container, you can create a blob file. And you can also have any number of folder structure over here. For example, if you click on this option over here, add directory. So this is like creating a directory structure. For example, you want to create a directory called CSV. So this will create a directory called CSV, and inside this CSV you can just upload a same kind of file again. Going to here, just dropping here, upload. So similarly, you can create any number of directory structure and upload any number of files over here. And if you click on this file, you'll have some information about the file. There is an option called edit over here. If you click on edit and preview, you can just see what is this file is all about. I think that's pretty much for today. I hope now you have an idea about like how to create a storage account, how to create a container, and how to create a blob file. Thanks for listening. See you in another great video. Until then, cheers. Bye.